Hello again, and welcome to another of Mosaic's coffee breaks. Mosaic is, of course, a collaboration of the organisations shown at the front of this presentation, and that collaboration focuses very much on the ownership issues associated with mid-market law firms. And when we say ownership, we mean everything associated with ownership, mergers and acquisitions, partnership structures, succession planning, partner exits, and everything associated with all of those issues. I hope you enjoy this broadcast.
Hello everybody, and welcome to possibly our favourite Mosaic coffee break of each year, where we polish off our crystal balls and gaze with unerring inaccuracy at the events that we think are likely to shape the year ahead. So what do we think 2025 holds for the legal sector? I've only written three things down, and I'll save myself till last. Mark, would you like to kick us off?
Well, obviously we've got the change in business asset disposal relief coming in April, so I see the first quarter of the year just being very busy with anybody who was thinking of selling, bringing it forward in order to reduce the tax they pay on it. So that I think is going to be the key focus for the first quarter of the year. I think I'm seeing more and more about AI, more and more people are trying to persuade me to use it. I've played around with bits of it, haven't found anything that's made my life wonderfully easier so far, but that will come. Did you want three? Those I think are the two main things that I'll start with.
Two's plenty, Mark, and hopefully having picked on you to start, you've given Howard and Tom plenty of thinking time for their prognostications. Howard, would you like to go next?
Completely the opposite, because Mark's picked up the two of my three issues. So let's just go on, follow up the pre-5th of April. Not only will it be deals, lots of deals happening pre-5th of April, but I'm already seeing a lot of work associated with changes to inheritance tax and the need to update wills. In particular, this £1 million allowance is not transferable between spouses as yet. I guess it might be, but you can't take the risk. So if you are a husband and wife team, you can't take the risk of one dying before April 26 and the other one dying after April 26, because you lose one set of allowances. So wills are going to have to be updated, and that's going to be a big focus, and that will link into the whole series of inheritance tax planning, trusts, family investment companies, etc. And I haven't looked at it yet, but I guess trusts might come back more into favour, more so than family investment companies, but I haven't thought that through as yet. So that's one area. AI, entirely with you, Mark, and entirely with Nigel and AI. And I've recently come across, and there are others, an organisation called Octopus Legacy, which is buying up will banks. And they are using AI to review will banks and are prepared to pay reasonable money for will banks. And if they don't want to buy the will bank, they'll do it as an exercise, a commercial exercise, to review your will bank and tell you what they think it's worth and what's in there. Not only that, the AI will actually issue letters to all the named people in the will bank, telling them what needs changing, telling them how out of date it is, telling them who the executors are. So I haven't seen it actually operate, but I'm told this is what happens. It looks very impressive. First of what's to come, I think. Yeah, so that's me for the new year.
Thank you, Tom.
We should say that other providers are available at this point.
Absolutely.
As ever.
Absolutely.
Tom, what's in your crystal ball?
My crystal ball has been, has failed every single time you've asked me that question over the last few years, Nigel. So it's obviously on the blink. In terms of what I think, I think as we are recording this, there are lots of consultations out from the SRA about what they should or shouldn't do, sort of post-Axiom. You could argue there are various carts and various horses, but nonetheless, we are where we are. And I think that could cause, I think it's most likely to cause two things. One is a sort of change to the M&A regime of law firms. So as you gentlemen are well aware, right now you have 30 days post-transaction to notify the SRA I will put a fiver on the fact that that will be reversed. I suspect will be much more akin to the regime that the FCA have, i.e., you must apply in advance for permission to merge. So I think that will be something very different in sort of Mosaic's world and in sort of law firm world. And also in one of those consultations is what should we do about client money, and what is the definition of fair, and how does that play out? I'm not sure what my crystal ball says about that, but I do think that it will be a really interesting challenge for law firms if their wings are in some way clipped in that area. And I think it would be a massive shame if their wings were in some way clipped, in that area. But certainly what it could mean, Nigel, in your world, in pricing world, if I'm spending hundreds of thousands of pounds a year to maintain a client account, and I probably am, by the way, because I've got cashiers and I've got specialist software and I've got audit fees. So it's not a cheap endeavor to have a client account. And if I'm no longer allowed to make a turn on the interests, then I still have those same costs. And does that mean I need to look at my pricing more generally, perhaps, to make up that shortfall?
That's one of the nicest bits of baton handing over that we've done in the Mosaic Relay team, Tom. Thank you for that. So in AI, I just wanted to share a couple of things with you. As you guys know, I had the pleasure of speaking at the Future Firm Forum in New Zealand last month. One of the other speakers at that forum was Fiona McClay, who's written this book, The Tech-Enabled Lawyer, who gave a live presentation on the kind of things ChatGPT and Copilot can do that the likes of us probably haven't yet imagined. My talk on pricing was very much with AI coming over the horizon. It's time, it's always been time, but it's ever more so now, time for law firms to look at the value of what they deliver rather than the cost of production. One of the co-speakers at that forum was obviously listening to the little bit I did on the psychology of pricing, and I referred the audience to the very useful book Thinking Fast and Slow by Dan Kahneman. Lots of people had heard of it, a few people had bought it, nobody ever finishes it apparently. After I'd finished speaking, there arrived on my copy of LinkedIn on my app a 3-page summary of the book, which one speaker had just said to ChatGPT, provide me with a summary of Thinking Fast and Slow by Dan Kahneman. Honestly, I couldn't have written a better summary myself. So the boundaries are constantly being pushed back as to what AI can do and do for us. So that's one of my big predictions, that AI will continue to impact the way law firm leaders think, as well as the way we price our work. I'm with Mark that I think there's going to be more deals in the new year. I think the activity of PE firms over the last year has grown, hasn't it? And I think we're going to see yet another wave of consolidation. And I apologise for this last one. Fortunately, I've been wrong about it every year. But as one of nature's great optimists, it always falls to me to predict gloomy economic times ahead. And I fear that the new president in the US and his attitude to tariffs may lead to a very difficult second half of the year, quite possibly a global recession. So that's my worry for next year, if not a prediction. Do we have any closing remarks from anybody?
Something to cheer us up before we
Please.
say farewell.
Please.
But
I'll do some cheer to just note that, first of all, we have been wrong every time we have done this recording. So feel free to, so good stiff ignoring. But also kind of, over the years, certainly that I've done this recording, kind of we have dealt with COVIDs, and we have dealt with recessions, and we've dealt with changes of governments and what have you. And you know what? Every time we say, oh, the legal sector's in for a rough ride, she always comes out the other side, doesn't she? So, the glass half full that I will add is there are some fantastic firms out there who know their onions, firms who are investing in AI or have thought through their succession plan or are sufficiently profitable that they can swallow the national insurance rise. There's plenty of firms out there doing some really, really great stuff. So how about that for Glasshouse?
That is a lovely
Yeah.
finish, Tom. Thanks.
Here, Tom, and it falls on this occasion to the youngest member of our team to look at next year with the glass half full. Thank you all for your contributions, and to all of our viewers and our mums, Happy New Year to everybody, and we look forward to working with you in 2025.